I've received some messages in my inbox, and the questions are, Gwen, what are the signs that I am not ovulating? Or is it possible for me to have a period and not ovulate? How do I go about it? Hello everyone, I'm Gwendolyn Hale, a medical microbiologist, and I'm popularly known as the medical microbiologist with the difference. I bring you knowledge on health, medicals, hygiene, farming, business, and a lot more. Let's go there. Come back. So today we'll be tackling these questions. What are the signs that I am not ovulating or that a woman is not ovulating? And the second question is it possible for a woman to have a period, have a bleeding, and not ovulate? And to answer the second question, yes, it is possible. It is possible for a woman to have a bleeding and not ovulate. And that is what they call non-ovulation period or non-ovulation bleeding. When a woman does not ovulate, it's also known as anovulation. Now, let's go back to the drawing board and let's get a brief summary on how menstruation works. Now, ovulation is when the ovaries release an egg, and it always begins or happens before menstruation. And when the egg is not fertilized, then the endometrium walls or the uterine walls or the walls of the uterus or the womb begin to thicken, and slowly and gradually it sheds off and menstruation occurs. Now, technically, it is not possible for a woman to have her menses, or scientifically, it's not possible for a woman to have her menses or to have a menstruation, have monthly menses, if she hasn't ovulated. And I'm going to explain why. Because progesterone needs to be released. Progesterone is very important and plays a big role during menstruation. Now, the ovaries produce progesterone after they have released an egg. This progesterone actually prepares the uterine, the uterus or the womb or the uterus for fertilization of the egg. It also helps to thicken the endometrial walls or the walls of the uterus or the womb while preparing for menstruation. Now, progesterone actually prepares the womb or the uterus for pregnancy. Now, when the egg does not get fertilized, progesterone drops and menstruation begins. Now, in the case where a woman is experiencing anovulation, where a woman is not ovulating, she does not experience menstruation or menses or a period that is due to her menstrual cycle. The bleeding and the period she gets is called non-ovulation bleeding or period. In fact, if an egg is not released, no menstruation can occur. I'm talking about the menstruation that comes about in a normal woman's cycle. So what a woman experiences, the bleeding or the period that a woman experiences while she's not ovulating is not called menses or menstruation. It is called a non-ovulation period or bleeding. So this is why it is very important that a woman can be experiencing or seeing this bleeding or this period and think it's her normal period that she has, or menses that she has, or menstruation that she's supposed to have, if she is ovulating. That means a woman can actually be having a period, having a bleeding, but she's not ovulating. This is why it's very important for a woman to know the signs that she's ovulating. A woman is supposed to study her body. It is important for a woman to know her menstrual cycle, the days she's supposed to be ovulating, but she's also supposed to monitor her body if her body is actually in line with the characteristics of a woman who is ovulating. Now, what are the signs that a woman is not ovulating? Point number one, if her menstrual cycle is longer than 35 days, that means 35 days and longer, it's a call for concern. You will need to see your gynecologist or your GP, so that should be checked. The next point is if a woman has a menstrual cycle shorter than 21 days. That means that the egg or your ovaries don't have enough time to be able to produce the eggs, and then the eggs actually travel in the fallopian tube for fertilization to occur. In fact, that shows that progesterone is never released in your body. That your body is void of progesterone. So this is a call for concern, and every woman who experiences that should meet their doctor. Third point is irregular menstrual cycle. The average woman has a menstrual cycle between 29 days to 35 days. Anything that is irregular, you find a woman today is 36 days, tomorrow is 22 days, this day is 29, the other day is 27, it's a call for concern. You need to see your GP. The next point is if the woman has no bleeding at all, no periods at all, no menses at all, this is a call for concern. That means there's no progesterone, because progesterone is actually released by the ovaries after the egg is released. Because the progesterone, as I explained earlier, plays a great role, a major role in preparing the womb, the uterus, in building up the thickening of the walls to menstruation, to when the egg is not fertilized and then the progesterone drops and menstruation begins. So if you have no periods at all, then there's a call for concern. There is a call for concern. The next point is if there is no rise in basal body temperature. If you watch the video that I created on 10 symptoms of ovulation, the 10 signs of ovulation, you will be able to align yourself to able to know if you're ovulating or not. But one of the most important points, which is very common, is with many women who are ovulating, is that their body temperature rises. And I actually explained in my former videos that if you're not able to know if your body temperature is rising, before you step out of bed every morning during your ovulation time, if you know your menstrual cycle well, if you know the days you're supposed to be ovulating, you have a sensitive thermometer, you insert it into your vagina, and you'll be able to take note if you're actually ovulating. Now, a few days before your ovulation, 5 days before your ovulation days, you need to do that. And 5 days after your ovulation, you still need to be taking this temperature putting this thermometer in your vagina to actually check if your body temperature has increased. Now, the body temperature will not be like you're having a fever or a hot flush. It would just be like you feel a little bit warmer. Your body feels a little bit warmer than before, because some people are not able to detect if their basal body temperature has increased. So that is another way, if you're a lady, if you're a woman, that you'll be able to know if your body temperature has increased by using the thermometer in your vagina before you step out of bed. I mean, when you just rise up from bed, that is the first thing. After you say your prayers, or before you say your prayers, you do that. You'll be on track. The next point is if you don't have any cervical mucus discharge. I mean, During ovulation, there is a normal discharge that comes out from every woman. That is to show that an egg has been released. If you don't notice this discharge, most probably because you have a busy schedule or because you're taking some medications, you may not notice. But you could use the other points I've given above to be able to determine if you are not ovulating or not. The next point is if you have very heavy or very light bleeding. Remember, I mentioned to you that ovulation needs to occur for menstruation to occur. So without ovulation, menses cannot occur. So what a woman sees while she's not ovulating, the bleeding that she sees, or the period that she sees while she's ovulating, while she's not ovulating, is not menstruation, it's a non-ovulation period. So if it is very light or it's very heavy, it shows that progesterone didn't get released rightly, the thickening of the walls were caused by other things, which could be by a fibroid, which could be by an endometriosis, or if the bleeding is very thick, that means that the walls did not get enough time, there was not enough progesterone, or progesterone was little or no progesterone in the uterus for the endometrial walls, the uterine walls to thicken while preparing for the normal menstruation, the normal monthly menstruation of a woman. Before I conclude, I would like to say this. Sexual health, reproductive health is every woman's business. If you look at my videos, I focus a lot on menstrual health, sexual health, and reproductive health. This is because it's every woman's business. I want to urge and actually encourage every woman not to wait until she is married or when she wants to start having kids before she starts getting concerned about her reproductive or sexual health. You should actually be sensitive about your reproductive or sexual health because this is a very sensitive matter. Our bodies as women are very sensitive. So this is the end of this short talk. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please do pop them down below, and please like and comment on these videos, subscribe as well, because it increases visibility of the video, and other women who need to be enlightened, who need to be informed, who need this knowledge will be able to see it, watch it, and actually be able to help themselves. Till next time, I'm your favorite medical microbiologist, the medical professional with a difference, Gwendolyn Halle. Bye-bye.